I was caught unaware there with the question that Russell asked me. So, as a wife, I personally don't think, um, yes, there should be a curfew to some extent, but I feel like I should not be treated like a child. The same curfew that is given to a child should not be the same curfew that should be given to a wife. So, I don't think a wife should have a curfew, but what I think is, as a wife, I should tell my husband if I want to go somewhere. For example, there's a party at work. I should say to my husband, babes, there's a party and I'm going to go. I want to go to the party. It's starting at this certain time and it's finishing at this certain time. Because there are some parties, I don't know about your kind of parties, but there are some parties that they've got a starting time and a finishing time. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to stay there for the whole duration of the party. So if it's a party that starts at 6 and finishes maybe at 1, I can say, I want to go to this party at work. It's starting at 6, but I'm planning just to be there for 4 hours. So is it okay if I go? But the problem with what I just said is, if I say, is it okay if I go? There's 2 answers to that, or 3 answers. So okay. The husband can say, no, you cannot go. Or he can say, yes, you can go. Or maybe he can say, I'll think about it. So when that happens, I feel like more like a child, if I may say. Okay. But if I say, I tell him all the details about the party, and then I tell him the time I'm going to be at the party, I personally don't think it should be a problem. Okay. As Pamela, and on the view of a wife. That's what I think.
I don't think it should be a problem either.
You think so? So let's say you are the husband, then I come to you and then I just tell you I'm going to a party at 6 and then I'll come home at 9. It shouldn't be a problem. What about you? What's your view?
I didn't even think about it, Now
you are the one. Back. You are the one who asked the question from nowhere. So
I didn't even think this will come back to me.
It has to come back to you.
Okay, so if you told me you're going from a certain time to a certain time, mm-hmm. and then you're coming home, mm-hmm. To be honest, there shouldn't be an issue depending on the event. Let's say if it's a work thing and it's your work colleagues that are going there, mm-hmm. then, and you told me the details about it, then I don't think there's an issue. If it's like a, let's say, one-time thing, do you get what I mean? Then, you know what? Once in a while, you can go and have fun, do you get what I mean? With like your friends, this and that. But the only issue I would have is if it's, if it happens all the time. Obviously, if it doesn't happen all the time, if it's like just there, or maybe, once in a while, oh, I've got a party for work, or I've got a party, then yeah, that's, I don't think there's an issue. As long as you don't, like stay till, late, like 12 a.m., 1 a.m., mm-hmm. Then yeah, that's reasonable for me.
So now you mentioned that once in a while, and you mentioned that if it doesn't happen all the time, mm-hmm. So how often is once in a while? Because as a person and as a wife, I don't go out that often. I might go out maybe once in 3 months. So if I ask in January, and then I ask again in March, and then I tell you again May, where is once in a while? Where does it, how much is once in a while?
Once in a while, yeah. I don't think there's a measurement in terms of after every 3 months.
Mm.
For me, I just believe once in a while is
Not often.
even though what is not often.
What is not
But once
often?
in a while for me is like to a point where I even forgot about the last time it happened. I'm like, oh, can I go to this? I'm like, oh, to a point where, let's say, I notice that it's not something you usually ask. Do you get what I mean? If that makes sense. Because if it gets to a point where, but you asked me this, 3 weeks ago, but you asked me this, like to a point where like I'm like, I'm like, you asked me
It's
this
constant.
recently. Yeah, it's constant. Yeah. Then for me, that's yeah, you're doing it all the time. So once in a while for me is when it's at a point where, I even forgot last time you went. Do you get what I mean? Like I don't keep track of, oh, 3 months ago. Like I even forgot about last time. That's what I just think.
Okay,
yeah.
so what are you saying? So okay, let's say we're still sticking to work. Let's
Mm.
say, because those who work can relate to me, to say sometimes there are so many events that happen at work. Most of them we don't even go. Some people go to every event. So let's say one person is leaving at work, we're having a leaving do, and then after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, there's a Christmas party, and then something else happens. Someone is having a baby, there's a baby shower, maybe a month after. Obviously, it's not
like parties for different events.
But so would you say no because you asked me 3 weeks ago? So this time, no, you are not going. And is it even fair to say, okay, because you went last time, you're not going today? What's what's your take? I know you're not married, I know, but your own point of view.
Putting myself in those shoes.
Yeah.
We'll start with Andrew. You haven't spoken about this. What do you think? So you've got a wife now. You're now, I don't know, 35, and then like she said, she keeps asking you for different events. Well, what would you?
No, if it's different events, then I don't think it's a problem personally, because it's not like, it's not the same thing. You know what I mean? Like Mum said, if it's like one person's leaving, then one person's having a baby, and it's Christmas, and it's Easter, and then it's different events.
So it doesn't matter that it's still from work. You are just going for work events, one after the other.
I do think it matters personally.
Okay.
Yep. To a certain extent, I agree with that. Because for me personally, it's a thing where, let's say if I have a wife here, how well our relationship is, if that makes sense. So if our relationship is, at a point where we trust each other, we've got good communication, like all these things, there's no issues. Do you get what I mean? Then I don't see a problem of, why I would say, nah, don't go there. But the only reason, let's say I would say, don't go there this time, like where I'll have issues is maybe, let's say if there's trust issues. Do you get what I mean? That's the only reason I would maybe have, restrictions or whatnot. Yep. But if there's no trust issues,
there shouldn't be.
For me, I don't think there's any problems.
I think it goes back to what we talked about from our previous video, part 1 of the curfew, that it's all about trust. It's all about communication. It's all about understanding. Those 3 things. If you communicate, you understand each other, you trust each other, I don't think there should be any issues. But like Russell said, when there are trust issues, that's when the problem starts. Because you'll be thinking about maybe what happened before, or and then maybe it might happen again, so I don't trust it to go. I don't trust him to go. So, yeah.
Then again, yeah, that's like the fact it's work related. That's like it's more comforting than if it wasn't work related. You know what I mean?
It's more what?
Like, let's say you say, oh, there's a difference between saying, I have a party, my friend's having a party, it's her birthday, something, can I go? Or are you comfortable, blah, blah, blah. And saying, oh, there's a party for work. Because it's work, you work with them every day, it's more.
But I don't think if there's trust issues, I don't think it will matter if it's work or friends.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, I think it's more, knowing that's work, it's more comfortable.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
But why is that? I don't quite get like what you're.
I don't know. I just think it's more comfortable knowing that it's work related
than a friend going to a friend's party.
Yeah. That's me personally.
That's Andrew's view.
Yeah, I think I get where. I still don't quite. Yeah, because why I'm saying I don't quite understand where you're coming from is work related, yeah, compared to, let's say, birthday party. Fair enough, there's different people, or like groups of people, but then it doesn't change that the people at your work, you're gonna become friends with them anyways. Do you get what I mean? So if it's a work related, let's say party, you're still friends with them. Like you said earlier on, remember you've got two different set of friends, this and that. Yeah, so it's the same kind of thing. Do you get what I mean? The only difference here is it's just your work friends, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still your friends, but at a party. Because there's some people, at work, they say, oh, after work, let's go for drinks. Do you get what I mean? They're going for drinks out of work environment. You're still friends
out of work.
Out of work. It's the same as you saying, let's go for drinks with someone that's not in your work. It's just a different work, a different friend group. But it doesn't change the fact that they're both still your friend groups, if that makes sense. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't understand why the work aspect makes it more comforting. Do you get what I mean?
Because it's only like, that's true, but it's not like that with all the people at work, innit? As you said, for like the school thing or the friends thing, some people you just know and call them your friends. It's the same with work, innit? Some people you just work with, they're not actually like, oh,
you're not attached.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of thing. In my opinion, innit? Obviously, as you said, there is people you're gonna be actual friends with that you work with, go for drinks after, stuff like that. But then there's people you just know because you work at the same place.
So it's more comforting because it's work related, is that what you're saying? Or
yeah, kind of, yeah.
Do you get what we're trying to?
I don't quite get it, Andrew. I'm sorry. I don't quite get your concept, but since we are talking about from a wife's point of view, I think a wife should not be given a curfew, but she should have like a reasonable imagination herself, just to say, you know what, yes, I'm going to a party, but because I'm a wife, I should go back at a certain reasonable time. And I'm sure everyone has got their own reasonable time. My reasonable time may not be the same as someone else's reasonable time. But to be given a curfew by your husband, I think it's a bit, I would say, too harsh, if I may say. Because I'll feel like if he can give Andrew a curfew, then he gives me a curfew, then I am not different to Andrew. He's just treating me and Andrew as children. So there should be a difference from my own perspective. But I feel like I said before, I should tell him, let him know where I'm going or who I'm going with and what time I'm coming home, so that he's got all the information. If it means he's going to drop me wherever I'm going, he'll drop me and he'll pick me up. That's my take. I don't know if you want to conclude on that, boys. Because remember, you're going to be husbands soon. You also have wives that are going to ask you to go to parties, especially your generation. So
what's a reasonable time for you? Just
for me, 12
a.m.
12 a.m. because now it's going to another day. So at least if I'm, if I don't pass to another day, unless we are together with the husband, then it's okay. But if I'm on my own.
Okay, talking about being together, yeah. Let's say if it's just like not work related. Let's say your friends, let's say you've got a group of friends, he's got a group of friends, and your group of friends ask you to go out, and let's say they do know, your husband. Is it okay, let's say, to go together, or do you feel like because it's your group of friends, like you shouldn't even be involved, or like you shouldn't be there?
What do you mean?
What I mean, okay, let me just explain that again. So, mom has a group of friends in it. Yeah. And those group of friends, they know your dad. And then mom gets invited. Oh, come to this party, this and that. Yeah. And then
dad going to the same party.
Huh?
Dad going to the same party.
And then mom saying, oh, can I come with my husband? It's like, okay, like that's what I'm saying. What do you feel? Do you feel like if you get invited, you just want to go by yourself, or like do you feel like it would be better if you go together? Or
I think it depends. It depends what type of party it is, because there are some parties where we just want to be girls. Okay. Even though my friends know my husband, but it would be odd for him to just be there, the only male around female friends. But if it's a case of maybe one or two of my friends also have their husbands around, then I can also say, okay, I can come with my husband, or ask my husband if he wants to come with me, because there will be other people there. But if it's just him with me and my friends are without their partners or husbands, then I think it's up to him actually, because it would be very odd for him to be the only male among females. But if there are other males around as well, I think that shouldn't be a problem. But it's also if he's comfortable, because he might know one or two of my friends and it doesn't bother him to be around, or you might not know them that much that he doesn't want to be around, so it also depends what type of party it is.
Okay, so you mentioned about, let's say if it's like female friends or like female and male, do you feel that there's difference if let's say if you're asked to go to a party that's only females, or like if you're asked to go to a party that's female and male? Do you feel like there's a difference in terms of like getting, let's say, a curfew?
There shouldn't be a difference. A party is a party. Either it's just females or a mixture. I personally don't think it should make a difference, because it's still a party.
Still a party. Okay. What do you think, Henry? Should there be a difference, or the same rules apply for everything?
The same rules apply for everything.
So should the same rules apply for kids and parents and moms and dads?
I think so. Because if you think about it, as you said, I think what did you say? You said something like towards the end of the last video, and actually it was this video. You said something like to do with like obviously something to do with curfew, and I was thinking, oh, that should be the same for me as well. But I forgot what you said.
What should be the same? Same curfew that I have should be the same for you.
Nah, not curfew, but like it was something else. But I forgot what it was.
Or are you talking about having expectation of like what time you feel like you should get home?
Yeah, it was that.
Something like that. Or because you said or is that talking about the part where she said, "Oh, I feel like I should come home at a reasonable time." What she believes is a reasonable time.
Yeah.
So you're saying it should be the same for you as well. What you believe is a reasonable time is what you should say.
Yeah.
What do you think?
If you think about it. Yeah, that's it.
That's a hard one. I don't think it applies to everyone. Because, for example, if it's Peter, we can't say Peter is 13 years old, then you should just come home at a reasonable time. It's not going to work. So it depends at what age you are, how responsible you are, and then you'll be able to make that decision to say, okay, it's reasonable time. But I can't say the same when it comes to Peter because he's still young to make that decision.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you mean how responsible? Cause the other day I was talking to Russell on the way home from the train station. He said me and obviously we're different people. So when he was 16, when I'm 16, obviously we had different curfews because we acted differently. But like, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time.
Okay, what you need to understand is you're all different.
Yeah.
But you've got your weaknesses, you've got your strengths. Rasi has got his own strengths and his weaknesses. You the same. So there are things that I can ask Rasi to do that I can't ask you to do. Because I know your strengths, I know your weaknesses. As a mother, I know what he's capable of, I know what you're capable of. When I'm at work, I can ask Peter to cook. I cannot ask you to cook.
Why?
Because you don't cook. You've never shown me that you are interested in cooking. You've got no, you don't have that zeal to cook. But Munashe Peter, he has shown that he's got the zeal. He wanted to learn and he can cook. So that's a good example I can give you. I know your strengths, I know your weaknesses. So from the conversation we're having with Russell, that's in a nutshell what it is.
No, but like,
you are different. That's why you've got different curfews right now. That's why Russell had to go to his first party when he was 16. And now we are 16. I don't know how many parties you've gone to. And it's also about upbringing. You grow up in here. Russell grew up in Zim. So his upbringing is different from yours. He talked about he didn't want to. What did you say when you talked about time that you were coming at 5 and 6? You didn't want to get into trouble because he knows how he was brought up. You British people, British born, if we tell you that, you'll be like, no, you can't tell me this. These are my rights. This. So you are totally different. So I can't treat you the same way that I treat us. I have to work around your strengths and your weaknesses and how you process things, how you think.
But doesn't curfew depend on age as well?
It depends on age, but it also depends on how responsible you are. Because the age is just a number. You can be 16, you can be 18, but not responsible. And someone can be 12 or 15, but they are very responsible. So age does not count. It's just a number.
So you let Peter stay out later than me?
Not necessarily stay out, but there are things I can leave Peter in this house on his own, and I will know I will not be worried wherever I am. But if I leave you, I'll be worried.
Why?
Because sometimes you lose focus.
No, not.
Yeah, so I think it's about.
So it's not about age. Age is not. It doesn't come into it at all. So someone who is younger may be very responsible and very organized than someone who's older. So it depends what you want done. You go with the person that you know is responsible, who gets the work done that you want done. Simple as that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we need to conclude on this. So let's have some last statements from both of you. And then we can conclude this discussion, which was very effective, very interesting. From Russell, close down the show.
So to round up, what I just figured is, in terms of curfew, it's all about, trust plays a big part in it. Safety from a parent's perspective to a child, safety plays a part, and whether someone's reasonable or not, that's what I've just like kind of picked up from this whole discussion. And yeah, so should there be a curfew? I just think it depends on the event, or like where you're coming from. And yeah, that's what I'll just conclude saying. Andrew?
Yeah, I agree with everything you've said in it. So I didn't really have much to say.
What did I say?
It was like, because I can't lie, yeah. I can't lie, yeah. It was like, I don't know, discussions is like an argument. I kind of lost the argument.
Was it an argument?
No, because when my points they just got.
Which point? Let's go back to your point then before we conclude this.
I forgot.
Anyway, it was not an argument, it was just a discussion. Yeah, so like we said before, it's all about communicating, it's all about understanding each other, it's all about trust, really. And everyone is different. We've got different strengths, we've got different weaknesses, different personalities. So yeah, this was exciting discussion, and next time we'll come back with more juicy discussions. So please comment and like and share and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on Diversity Talks with Pam. Thank you, Russell, and thank you, Andrew, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. It's it's good to have your children around you to support you. So it was lovely. Thank you, guys, and see you next time. Cheers. Peace.
Mom kept kicking me under the table.
Do you know